you are here with me on this Sunday afternoon, maybe in some places, or Sunday morning. And today we are going to talk about tabletop role play games. But so, what is the structure of our course? We are going to have 4 meetings. So the first one is today, and today we are going to talk just about the basics of RPG. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos to get the idea, and we will try to play one of the games online. So not all of you will be involved, but anyway, so we will try to do a little bit of practice. Our next meeting is going to be on the 16th of March at the same time. It'll be a live stream from our offline uh, training, from our online workshop, which will be held in Moscow, and you will get a chance to see other teachers playing RPGs. And then we are going to have two more webinars where we will discuss RPGs in details, and we will start working on your own games. And of course, you are going to have some homework. So between the webinars, you will need to create your own games, and you will need to play some of the games with your students. So I hope that you all have students available to try something with them, because your first homework from today's webinar will be to play one of the games I'll show you, and next time we will just discuss um, your ideas and your emotions and your feelings after the game. Also, I will ask all of you to join our closed group Contacte. So I will send you a link which group to join, and we will be able to discuss everything all the time online. Okay, so even if I'm not there, you can ask questions. You can ask your peers different questions, and you can discuss everything. Okay, and so I think I'm not going to introduce myself, so everybody knows. Yeah, I'm Elena Peresada, as I call game educator, and I work for StudyCraft and Trendy English. Yeah, and by the way, if you still don't know, we are going to have a big conference, Trendy English Games. The focus of the conference is on games and on preparing camp programs for your summer camps. So if you are interested, don't forget to register because early bird prices are going to end next week, I think. So what about RPGs, role-play games? Why I like this type of games? I think this is the best way to make our students speak fluently. You know, all of us, we all care a lot about authentic input. So we look for a lot of different materials online, videos, texts, and we always want our students to work with authentic materials, like real English from real life, not from the course book. But it is very difficult for us if we are in Russia to create authentic output, to create a situation where our students speak English not because we teachers ask them to do this or that exercise, but because they really have this feeling that they have to say something in English. Well, it is quite difficult, and many people and many English people teachers use different techniques and different exercises just to create this authentic output. So what about you? What kind of speaking activities do you use with your students? So that's a question to our participants. So what speaking activities do you use just to make your students speak um, uh, when it is not controlled speaking, yes, but it is free speaking? Mingling. And they've got Yaroslava, and do they have any girls in this mingling activity? What is the goal of each student? Sometimes, and sometimes we do it just for the sake of English, yes, just to practice some phrases and structures. Making dialogues, discussing something in pairs, very good. Okay, let's read just a little bit more, and we will go further. A survey. It's not really free, but more or less. Yeah. So because this is the problem, yes, it is very difficult to create like a real authentic situation if you are in the classroom. So if you don't go somewhere else, if you are not in English-speaking country, if you don't have a chance to talk to English people, to people who speak English, so it is very difficult. And yes, very often we use different types of dialogues or role plays. Yeah, do you all use role plays? Mm-hmm. Sharing the latest news. Okay, Svetlana, but I still think that all these activities they are a little bit artificial, don't you think so? So yes, we try to create all these situations, but anyway, they are not like really true to life. Yes, and sometimes we use role plays. Uh, when you work with little kids, they love role plays because they never do this kind of stuff in their real life. And this is something really exciting for them. Okay, I'm a shop assistant, you are a customer. I'm 6 and I've never been to the shop on my own. I always go there with my mom. And I've never been a shop assistant. Wow, that's exciting. So what about well, if you work with young learners, so you know, yes, that they all like act out dialects and they like doing different role plays. So what about adults? They are more or less okay with role plays because they understand why they have to do this type of activities. Okay, I'm going on business trip next week, and well, I want to practice this situation in this safe surroundings, and well, I will learn some vocabulary, and this vocabulary and these structures and these phrases, they will be useful when I am in a real life situation. The only thing is that when your students, even adult students, practice some structures in safe environment of the classroom, they can hardly ever use these phrases in real life because when they are in England and they meet a real shop assistant in the shop, for some reason they get so much confused that they can't remember anything. So we just discussed these situations with a lot of our students, and this is what they said. Yes, when we learn English in the classroom with our English teachers, so we want our English teacher to be very comfortable for us. But everyday life is much more stressful. And I strongly believe that role play games can create these stressful, true to life situations. And when you just ask your students, teenage students, to role play a dialogue, they usually look like this. Oh no, just they are not interested in role plays anymore because they are not young learners, they are not kids, and they still don't understand the goal of this role plays. They don't understand why they have to do these role plays. The reason here is so we work with Z generation and with Y generation, and they always ask, why should I do this? And if you do a role play, or if you ask students to act out a dialogue, or if you ask them to do some kind of mingling activities, they always have got this question on their mind: why should I do it? What is my goal? Just think about your student not as a student, but as a player. If your student is involved in some kind of activity, he must have a goal to make this activity interesting for him. The biggest problem in all kind of role plays and acting dialogues and all these peer discussions is that the situation is artificial, and as a participant I don't usually understand why I should do this, and I can't influence the situation. So I just repeat some structures. I just repeat some phrases which we learned before, and I understand that this is just a kind of drilling exercises. That's why it is very important to any role play add this very important element of game. And if you have already been to my webinars, and if you have already attended my previous workshops, so you know what is a game and what is the difference between a play and a game. So, can anyone come up with the correct answer? So, role play, and if we add to it game. So what is a game? What makes and why are games so interesting for people? Why people like playing games, especially those who are older than 6 or 9? I believe that everybody here knows what is a game because I talk about it all the time. Yeah, so very good. Players have to make their own decisions. So if you just act out, yes, and games are, yes, very good. Games are unpredictable, yes, and maybe the outcome of the game depends on your, as Angelina says, also meaningful decision. Wow, I just love your group. So you are so smart. You know everything. Yes. So if you just act out a dialogue, there is you don't make any decisions, yeah, and everything is quite predictable, yeah. This is a play, and you add a game element, so that means that you add some kind of meaningful decisions to your activity. Yeah, this is the slide which you, I'm sure, have already seen. So games are a series of interesting decisions, and this is very important. Let's talk about this role play in the shop. Yeah, we have this part of our we all have this everyday section in some of the course books. Shopping, yeah, and you have to act out a dialogue and maybe role play dialogue in a shop. And yes, our teenage students usually say, oh no, I don't want to do it again, so it's boring. Okay, but how can we make this shop dialogue more interesting? So, any ideas? Money limit. Yeah, so if you introduce any kind of restrictions, so if you just introduce some kind of artificial obstacles to your game, so to your activity, and then your students will have to overcome these obstacles, this will make the activity interesting, and this will turn a play into a game. Yeah, and maybe you are familiar with our game, Black Friday. So this is a very simple and a very primitive example of a role play game. Yeah, because role play anyway, you have got a character, and we give to all our students character cards with the name, the budget which this person has, some preferences about colors and clothing size. Okay, and students, they have to role play their character So they can't make up anything um, um, from their own experience. They have to follow they have to use the information on their character card, and then they go shopping, and there are 6 days of a big sale, and the winner is the person who buys more clothes items than anybody else. So this is an example of a role play game. So, but what about tabletop role plays? So this is another term, tabletop role play games. So this is what we are actually going to talk about during our course. I don't know, but maybe you are familiar with LARP games, role plays. You know, when people get together somewhere in the woods, they wear these fancy dresses, they've got swords, they are elves and hobbits, and they role play the whole battles, well, between orcs and elves. Have you heard anything about these type of games? No, never. Okay. So I think you can Google. Yeah, they're called LARP, or in Russian we call them ролевые игры живого действия. Uh, uh, and this abbreviation, it stands for live action role plays. So you role play your character. You are a hobbit. You are elf. Maybe you are a sailor from the 18th century, and you role play this game. There is some kind of plot. You live inside this plot, inside this story. You make some decisions, and you might die in this game, or you might live to the end of the game, and there is always a goal in this game. And these kind of games, they can last from a couple of days to or maybe, well, they can last even as long as a week. And just my husband's brother, he took part in a lot of games like this, well, and we used to have sword in our flat and things like this. Okay, this is very interesting, but it is very time consuming, and well, and resource consuming, yes, and money consuming. So all this stuff, because you have to create your own costume, you need to have some kind of artifacts, and you have to spend some time somewhere in the woods while you play this game. But in 1964, the first tabletop role play game appeared, Dungeons and Dragons. So people didn't go to the woods. They didn't dress up these fancy costumes. Players just sit around the table, and they might use some small miniatures, some, well, figures of characters, orcs, or, well, elves, magicians, and they just tell the story. So the whole story and everything what they do is described verbally, yeah, in a kind of narration. And so the story is created at well, at this particular moment. And I think that tabletop role play games, well, they are very useful for our English classes. So before I start describing how to, before we start discussing how to create your own role play game, uh, let's try to do a small, to play a small one, just to give you a flavor so that you could understand what we are really talking about. So, imagine I will take a plot from one of our games, from one of our StudyCraft games, which is called Island. So the legend, so the story in this game is like this. Uh, a plane crashes on a deserted island, and we survive in this plane crash. but we are on the island, and we need to survive somehow, and we have to decide, so what can we do to survive. So at the very beginning of the game, every person gets a character profile. So I'll type the term here in the chat. This character profile gives some information about you as a person. Okay, very quickly, let's brainstorm now. So imagine a situation. You are on a deserted island. So what kind of skills do you have to survive on a deserted island? I will give you an example. For example, I'm very good at fishing. So, if you were on a deserted island, what kind of skills would you have to survive? Making fire. Svetlana, and please remember, yes, this skill. I can build a house with branches or grass. Knowledge of eatable plants and fruits. Women making the fire and shelter. Okay, Angelina has got lots of different skills. Yaroslava is good at hunting. Okay, Nastya good at swimming, hunting, and climbing. Very good. Now I will show you an example of this character profile from our lesson.
Actions orally. They make the RPG game. There is no and comes up and making a decision in the rules. Eliminate you are going and numbers for each of them. Hero profile.
Here in the video we call it hero profile, but it's not correct. So the correct name is character profile.
Who's breaking? Okay, you are going to break the tree. Yeah. Okay. Hero profile. Before the game, players create their player characters. Let's have a look at the example in the island game. Each player gets a hero profile where they can write their name or nickname, draw an avatar, and write no more than 4 skills and numbers for each of them that will show how good they are at each skill. Player rolls 6 sided dice 4 times, 1 time for each skill. So, climbing has got 3, jumping has got 5, swimming has got 6, and exploring the area has got 1. It means that the player is the best at skilled swimming. Players can use their special skills during the game, and they do not create any new skills while playing. It means that players should think ahead before the game and write skills which are likely to be used.
Okay. So this is how you can create a character profile before the game. Because if you talk about role plays, that means that every character, every participant, every student in your game, he has got his character. It will be something absolutely new, as in a role play in a shop. You are John, you are Kevin, so you don't really know this person, or maybe this is you but in new surroundings, in new circumstances. Okay, so what I want you to do now, so we are not going right now just to throw dice, just to check how good are you at this or that particular skill. As a game master, so one more term for us. I just tell you that if you all of you are good at your at this skill which you mentioned, and so like you've got like 3 points of each skill. That means that if you want to climb a mountain and you are good at climbing, and when you check the result of your action and throw the dice, and if the dice shows 12, I will add 3 extra points from your climbing skill, and so the overall result on your dice, it will be 15. So we will see now how it works. Okay, so what about Game Master? Who is the Game Master? In tabletop role-play games, we have a Game Master who tells the story and who makes final decisions. Okay, I think that your action was successful or your action wasn't successful. And Game Master is responsible for creating the setting and the atmosphere of the game. And the Game Master invents all the obstacles which your students, which your players face with. Okay, now please remember your skills, and each of your skill is worth 3 points. Now I'm going to send you a link for a digital dice. So we are going to work with it online. That's why you can't just roll dice like this. So we will need a digital dice. Can you follow this link and try to roll these digital dice? So you will need here to type your name, and you will see your own results, which will be marked by your name. Okay, let's try to do it. Put a plus if you have done everything, if you have typed your name, and if you have tried to roll the digital dice and everything was successful. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, I can see Yaroslava, and I can see a lot of people. I can see Angelina. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you can see your results. Mm-hmm. Very good. Mm-hmm. Somebody has got one with no name. Mm-hmm. Please put your name. It will be easier for us to check the results if we know your names. So you can type in your name if you click. You can see this sign, no name. So you click to edit and just type in your name there. Nastya. Very good. So we've got a lot of people who have tried these dice. Okay. Yes, Yaroslav, just roll one time just for practice, just to make sure that you know how to use it. Okay, and now let's begin. Okay, cool. That's good. So you are on this island, and you've already spent some time in our real game island. So you've spent like 2 or 3 lessons already on this island, and you have learned a lot of new words. And you are one morning you found a bottle in the sea. So this one morning the sea brought you a bottle with a message inside this bottle. And the message in this bottle told you that there is a chest on the island, on a high tree, and the tree is on a high mountain, and there are some valuable things to survive on this island. And when you found this message, you decided, and there was a map also in the bottle. So you decided to find this mountain and to find this tree and to find this chest because you want to survive. And if there is something valuable, if there is something that you need to survive on an island, it will be really helpful. So you follow the route on the map, and you went across the woods. You went through the woods, and you went through the swamp, and now you are at the bottom of the mountain. So the mountain is not very high. It's more like a cliff, but the sides of the mountain, they are very steep. And on the top of the hill of this cliff, let's say not a mountain, this cliff, you can see a tree with a chest. Okay, but what are you going to do? So you need this chest. You are at the bottom of the hill. So what can you do now? And this is how we play the game. So Anastasia, what do you suggest? Okay, Anastasia says that she may climb. So if she's good at climbing, let's check. So Anastasia, please roll the dice and tell us what is the result on the dice. 4. Only 4. I add 3 points because you are good at climbing. So the total result is 7. Okay, Nastya, you tried to climb up this mountain, but it was so the mountain was still too high for you. And at some point you just fell down. Okay, so you realize, all of you realize that impossible just to climb the mountain. Okay, Anastasia, use a rope and trees on the hill to climb. Okay, but do you have a rope? Nastya Beysova, do you have a rope with you, or jump on the cliff? No, so Yaroslava, sorry, you can't jump on the cliff. You see, Nastya tried to climb it and it was really, really high, so she failed. So you can't just jump on it. So what about the rope? Do you have a rope with you? Okay, Nastya says she has got 20 on the dice, which means, yes, she has a rope. Okay, Nastya Beysova, she has a rope. So, Nastya, can you tell us what are you going to do now? You've got this rope. Just describe all your actions. Unfortunately, you can't talk now, yes? But you can describe it in written form. So what are you going to do with this rope? Okay, you throw this rope to get it stuck on the tree. Okay, roll the dice. Let's check if you can do it. And tell us what is your result. 3 plus, and are you good at throwing stuff? I'm afraid you are not. Yes, you didn't mention this skill. So no, so you threw the rope, but it got stuck not on the tree, but on a nearby rock, and you lost this rope because this end of the rope which you had in your hands, it was blown away by the wind, so you don't have a rope now. Okay, now I'll understand you why the outcome is so bad, because the result is very, very bad. So we assume that if it is 15, the action is successful, and the lower the result is, the worse the outcomes are. So what can we do now? Can you look around? Maybe you can get to this mountain by some other means. Maybe you can just walk around and find a trail. Oh, Yaroslava, can you really see a ladder on a deserted island? Yaroslava, can you throw the dice? And let's check if you really can see a ladder. By helicopter. Well, that's a good idea. Just hold on. Let's check the ladder first. If there is a ladder or not. So, Yaroslava, what is your result? Okay, Yaroslava, it's 2 I can see. Sorry, there is no ladder. It was just your imagination. You looked, well, you you had an idea that it was a ladder, but when you came closer to the bushes, you just could see that these are some old branches of trees. Okay. What about a path? Nastya, can you really find a path? Throw the dice and we will see if you've got a path. 10. Okay, you can see a path, but it is blocked with old fallen trees and rocks. There is a path which goes to the top, but it is blocked. You know, there was a storm a few days ago, and during this storm, a lot of rocks fell down from the mountain, and some trees broken, and now this path is blocked. So, and what about a helicopter? This is an absolutely crazy idea. But Nastya looks up at the sky and she has got this hope that there will be some help. Nastya, so what is your result? Can you really see a helicopter? And you know, you have too much food, not too much water, and perhaps it was just your hallucination. Okay, but so what do we have now? We can't climb the mountain, but you found a path which is blocked with some and rocks. Maybe you can clear out this path somehow and use it. Pull the trees away. Or maybe climb over these debris. Okay, who is good at climbing? Angelina, are you good at climbing? Maybe. Okay, let's check. Angelina throws the dice and let's see if you can climb over these debris. Angelina, 9 plus 3, 12. Okay. You started climbing over this block of fallen trees and rocks. But you know, sir, somewhere on the top, your leg got stuck inside these fallen trees. And now you are on the top of this block of trees and rocks and you can't move any longer. Okay, girls, now you have to help Angelina, or she will stay. You can climb together, helping each other. Yeah, that's a good idea if you do it all together. Okay, but we don't have so much time, and as a game master I say, but you all decided to help Angelina and you went all together and tried to pull her out of this trap, and so your action was quite successful and you could get over this block of fallen trees and you went up the path up to the tree. So now you are all on the top of the mountain and you can see a tree and there is a chest on the top of this tree. Okay, Angelina is really grateful to you. Okay, so but how can you get this chest? When you play role-play games with your students, it's very important to make sure that all your students work as one team. Because if somebody doesn't like somebody else, they might want just to leave this person behind. Yeah, you can use a stone or you can climb the tree. Okay, let's try to use the stone. Do we have anybody who is good at throwing stones? If not, let's just try your luck. Okay, Anastasia has got 20 and, well, she throws a stone and knocks down the chest. The chest falls down and opens up. And you can see here all the instructions how to build a raft and where to get all the materials to get away from this island. Okay, this is how role play game works. Yeah, congratulations. It is very good for small groups of 4, 5, maybe 6 people. If you have more students in your group, uh, some people might keep silent, but how to involve them into the game, we will talk about it in 2 weeks on our third webinar. Okay, so actually in this game, what I, as a game master, what kind of obstacles I created for you? So because this is how we create this role play game. So this is a story, and I was thinking only about some basic plot elements. And so I decided that your chest will be on a tree and the tree will be on a mountain, because active vocabulary of this lesson is climb a mountain, look around, take a look around, chop woods, make fire, build up a shelter, uh, explore the area, search, gather stuff. So, and I created just 3 obstacles for you. The first one, you are at the top of the mountain, at the bottom of the mountain. Did I keep saying at the top of the mountain during the game? So you are at the bottom of the mountain. So that's the first obstacle. Then I told you that you can use a trail, you can use a path, but the path was blocked because I wanted you to use some other kind of vocabulary, maybe climb over this block of trees. And as for my students who I worked with, they had their skills like, I'm very strong, I can clear up the way. Okay, so I wanted you to use some other kind of vocabulary, and then there was a tree, and that was the third obstacle. I wanted you to knock down this chest somehow. Okay, maybe so actually you might have chopped this wood, this tree, and that that was one of the possible ways of getting a chest. Or, well, actually you could have built a ladder again with the help of the trees, because you were in the woods, but you didn't have an axe. And one of the active words, one of the words from the active vocabulary was to gather stuff. You could just go around, look around, and maybe as there was a plane crash, you could find something suitable for this, helpful for this particular situation. So this is how we create a story, and this is an authentic output for our language, because you don't think about what words to use, but you think about how to solve the problem which you've got. Have you got any questions so far? Let's discuss some questions and go further. Okay, we are a little bit behind the time. No questions. This is very good. What if students give absolutely unlogical ideas? Okay, nice. This is your role of a game master. You have to make final decisions, and your power is absolute. What you say is true. If they say, okay, we can fly up to the mountains, but you say, sorry guys, we haven't got magic in our world. This is not a story about magicians and wizards. So let's try another idea. This is your task to judge and to evaluate their decisions. Children choose skills when they have already know they on the island. Yes, that's right. So first of all, you give them the setting, and then they think about their skills. And you know what I it, just so students are familiar with this active vocabulary, chop the wood, make a ladder. I mean, they have already learned these words. Yeah, that's right. So we use role play games at the final stage of our lesson. So first you introduce the words, you practice them, and role play game is a very good speaking activity at the end of the lesson. In this game island, first of all, we just brainstorm some ideas what they might be good at, and they write down 2 skills, like for example, jumping or fishing. Then I just introduce new vocabulary, and we work with new vocabulary, and then they add 2 more skills using this active vocabulary, and only then we play this game. And you know, during while we play this game island, so it takes a few lessons. I think it took me about 5 or 6 lessons. Some students, well, there was a girl, Lisa, who she wasn't present during the first 2 lessons because, well, she was on holidays with her parents, and when she came back, when she returned from her holidays, I gave her just a blank character profile, and other students advised her on what kind of skills she choose, because they already knew what kind of skills might be helpful, and they all asked her to add chop woods, because they realized that if you are on a deserted island, chopping wood is a very helpful skill to survive. And you see, this is how students make meaningful decisions. Okay, so I will show now one more example of a role-play game with our students. This time you will have a look at our adult students who work online, and the story will be quite true to life. You know, when I work with teens, all the stories are like they take place in some fantasy world, something which is not quite realistic, because students, teenage students, they like these imaginary worlds. But you can also use role-play games in well, in everyday environment. Okay, and when we work with our adult students, so their goal is to get ready for international conferences, for working with their international partners. And well, on the whole, their level of English is more or less okay. But when they meet natives, for some reason they get lost and they don't know what to say. Okay, so here is an example.
So, Game Master has to help and give.
They're on one. So there are 3 of us today here. Again, we are very happy that you decided to join us for this project. Okay, and we're kind of excited tonight. So the first lesson. And let me say just a few words about what it's going to be like and what we are going to do. By the way, who watched the video?
I watched a part of.
Alex, did you watch it to the end?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
And Dmitry? I believe. Yeah, very good.
It seems to be he's in the car.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. Everybody is very busy. Okay, so just a few words about the project. Okay, I'll try to share the screen now. Hope it'll be okay. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Oops. Oh, no. I'm not very good with the technology. Okay. Okay. Today is the first and rate quest, and it is called Coffee Time. And today we want to role play situations where you will have to start a conversation, to introduce yourself, to interrupt other people politely. So you will need to use some conversational strategies to sound polite and to attract maybe more partners, investors, whoever. Okay, so actually each lesson which we are going to have, it's going to be a kind of a quest, and in each quest you have a goal, and it's good to reach this goal by the end of the quest. And we are going to send you a video with a new set of phrases of before each quest. And you can practice these phrases in Quizlet, so just before the quest and after the quest. Also, if you have any questions just between the lessons, you can ask them in our chat on Facebook. Okay. And so the first quest, it's I don't know if you've ever played anything like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, any role play games. No, no.
Actually, as for me, I didn't understand. Could you please repeat? What was the question?
So I just wonder if any one of you has ever played role play games such as Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, no, this one I don't know.
Never. So what is a role play game? It's like a story which we create all together. So as a game master, I've got an idea of this story in my head, but actually I don't know how is it going to work in reality. And so you will have a lot of conversations with different characters. You will be able to talk with your partners, with your colleagues who are here now. And also you will be able with some virtual characters. Natalia will be performing their parts. Okay.
I'm going to be the main obstacle today.
Yes. She's going to be, actually, as it is a quest, yes, she is going to be a kind of an obstacle for you, and you will have to overcome this obstacle to get to your goal. It's a good idea to act as a team. But please let give everybody some chance to speak. And we are going to use online dice. Okay, let me show you what it is. Okay, I will stop here. You see, that was a little bit different example from the previous one. When we played with you island game, so you had to describe your actions, but in this game in the conference hall, we focused more on conversations because our topic vocabulary was introductions, attracting strangers, and asking different questions. And so students, they got a list of useful expressions, and they had to work with them before this game. And in the game, they had just to use the phrases from their active vocabulary, saying, "Excuse me, could you help me? I just wonder if you know. I'm sorry, but that might be a stupid question, but maybe you can help me." So role-play games, they can be not only about actions, they can be also about conversations. And this is very useful for us as teachers. Okay, so do you have any questions right now after watching this episode? No, thanks. Mm-hmm. I believe mhm, that now you understand the general idea of role-play game. Yes, this is an interactive story which you create with your students just on the spot. Anastasia, should we prepare the list of words, vocabularies for students before the game? So if you want to practice some particular vocabulary, yes, you need a list of words. But if you want to just to make them speak no matter what kind of language, uh, and you don't want to focus on some particular language, if you want to do it just for speaking and for fun, yes, you are free to do it. But I always, during my lessons, I want just to activate some particular vocabulary. That's why when I create my role play games, I keep in mind a list of vocabulary which I gave my students beforehand. For example, these are the words which I want to activate. So we discuss these words with our students. I introduce these words. We do different kind of activities, exercises to memorize these words. Then I create a game. Okay, and this will be your homework. Now, are you ready for homework? Mhm. Yes, okay, that's very good. So this is your active vocabulary. So don't take any notes because you will get everything like in a more in a handy way. So I will send you all the information that you need. And so I want my students to use these prepositions, and this is my lesson plan. Okay, if I want them to use prepositions out of, into, over, that means that what kind of obstacle I need? I need a pit. And there should be a brick wall on both sides of the road. So if students walk along the pit, along the road, they come up to the pit and they have to do something with this pit. They have to jump over the pit, or they might fall into the pit, then they will have to get out of the pit, things like this. So the next obstacle is the river with a bird and a crocodile. Because I want them to use phrases to swim along the road, to swim across the road, okay, maybe to get over to swim along the river, to swim across the river, and maybe to get over the river somehow. Okay, and the last obstacle is a tower, a castle, a tower with the gate which goes up and down. It is broken because I want my students to use the phrases go through the gate, and maybe they can go up the walls. They can climb the walls of this castle, or you can also introduce a balloon, a hot air balloon, so that students could fly uh, up, fly up. And this is the story, and this is a worksheet which you will get. So there is a poor princess, and this princess was kidnapped by the dragon, and the dragon wants to eat this princess. Okay, and you want to save this princess. You walk along the road, and you can see all these obstacles on the road. Yeah. And to check the result of your actions, students will use a 20-sided dice. Or you can use our digital dice. Actually, there are a lot of different apps which you can download on your phone. When I play with my own kids, when we are somewhere in a cafe waiting for food or somewhere on the way, we just play role play games with my own kids, and we use applications, dice apps on the phone, because I don't carry these dice always with me. So your home task is So to introduce this vocabulary to your students, your own students, practice this vocabulary, and end up with this role play game. So you will get a full description of this game into your. I will send it to you by email, and so I want just to discuss with you all your feelings and emotions and all your ideas and thoughts about the game. Is there any age limit? Okay, you can't play these games with those students who are younger than 9, I believe, because only at the age of 9, students, children, they develop logical thinking, and they can't make any meaningful decisions if they are younger. I play role-play games with my own daughter who is 6, but she can't play on her own. We always play with her, her elder brothers, and my husband, and they always help her. They give her ideas what to say and what to do. Well, she's 6 and she can't, no, she can't play it at all. So when you are 6, just role plays, just basic role plays are good. You are a shop assistant, I'm a customer. This is what they can handle. But role play games are very hard for young learners. So you need a dice. So, if you go to our website, studycraft.ru, I think we started selling these gaming kits with counters and dices. You can check on our website. But if you don't have these dice, you can always use a digital one. Yeah? And a digital one is, so you can use our own digital one, this one, or you can download just an application from the internet. Okay, so I want you to try and play this game with your students during next week. What is going to happen on Saturday? On Saturday, you will see how other teachers play this game, but they are not going to play it with real students. It'll be a workshop for teachers because next weekend it's teaching teens weekend, our workshop, which is organized by StudyCraft and Train the English. Well, if you want, if you have a possibility, you can still join us. I think we've got 3 or 4 places left. So on Saturday, we are going to talk about role-play games, and Natalia Bilausova is going to talk about how to introduce projects and work with projects. And on Sunday, Vera Babkova is going to talk about developing leadership qualities and how you can do it in your English class. And Elena Sarnavska will talk about using mobiles in your lessons. Okay, so next Saturday, anyway, yeah, we always start at 12. It'll be easier. So no, but next weekend we meet only on the 16th, on Saturday, not on Sunday. And on Saturday, you will have this live stream from our workshop. And we will have some kind of discussion after this stream. Next Sunday, on Sunday the 11th, we don't meet. Our next webinar, sorry, it's my, yes, and then we meet on Sunday at 12. Yes, that's just my fault. So on the 16th, it's a live stream. Then we have a webinar on Sunday, the 17th at 12 o'clock. And then we've got one more webinar on the 24th. Yeah, I got confused, sorry. Okay, Angelina, even if you work on Saturday, don't worry. We record everything, and you will have a chance just to watch the record after all. Okay, girls. I don't know, do you have any boys here? Because, well, I look through the names of participants. We've got only ladies here. So maybe I will tell my home task on Sunday. Yes, on Sunday, anyway, we will discuss everything as a group again. Yes. And I will send you a link to our closed group ВКонтакте, and you can start discussing everything just during the week, just at any time. So this is your home task, yeah? And that's I like this quotation. That's the reason why I like role play games. Like life, it's not so much whether you win or lose, but how you play the game. Because the most important thing is to enjoy the game and to have fun. Okay, so do your home task. So play Saving the Princess game with your students during the week. I will send you all the materials right now by email, and see you on Saturday at 12 if you can make it. And our next webinar is on Sunday the 17th at 12 o'clock. Okay, thank you. So have a good day. So enjoy Maslenitsa. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, bye bye.